mine and a very good chess player. Fun fact about Govind, he's actually unrated, but he's played a lot of grandmasters in, well, GMs and IMs, let's say, in India and in Nepal. So I've sent an invitation for exactly three friendly games with him, 10 minutes plus five, and he's finally accepted. So that's good. So let's get started playing, and hopefully it's a good game. I go with the birds opening, I guess. I'm not really familiar with the openings. And again, it's a casual game, very loose time control, and uh, and I see he's using a pretty fresh account with well, no rating anyway, but I can guarantee you guys that the man behind this account is a very strong player by my standard at least. And like I said, he was a close friend of mine while I was in India quite some time ago. More or less my chess coach. I believe my game improved a lot while I was playing with him. And our games tend to be pretty chaotic. So let's see how it goes. Hmm, I will have to think a bit. Ha. So he wants a fianchetto. Let me just continue with my development. Hmm. If any of you know what the name of the opening is, very much enlighten me. I'm not sure what exactly we're playing here. Uh, but then again, I have never really been strong when it comes to openings. So hopefully we still have a solid position. Looks like I'm winning a pawn here, but again, I'm playing against Govind, so I would never trust myself. I would never trust with Govind giving away a free pawn for nothing. I have no idea why he did that. Maybe it's a blunder. And I'm really tempted to push my f pawn to f5, but I'm not sure if I can hold on to this position somehow. I mean, I can always trade the pawn with the g pawn if he does not threaten me with something quite immediate. Let's just go ahead with it and see what happens. I would also like to add that I quite prefer this time format compared to 3 plus 2s that we were doing previously. It helps with my um, it helps me to communicate with the audience as much as I can. So his knight here, the knight's quite active. His bishop's targeting my knight. If he takes, I take back, and he takes back with a check. So that's quite tricky. If I take the pawn first, he takes my knight. My pawn takes something and gives a check. And yeah, he has to respond, and then my pawn can take back the knight. Uh, he comes back with the check again. It's complicated, but I'm pretty sure it's better for him. Let me calculate again. Takes, take, no, takes, takes with a check, maybe takes or even goes here. I take, he takes with a check, I move, and then he wins my uh, rook. I do open up his king side, but then again, my king side is just as open as well. Huh. I guess this is what being between a rock and a hard place feels like. It's impossible for me to make any move here, I guess. Take here, take here. Uh maybe I just sack my bishop completely and try to play something smart. Let's see. Because it's Govind, I think he's gonna embarrass me in front of all of you today. But let's give it a shot. My idea would be to take this pawn with a check. So, yeah, if his rook takes, maybe I take the rook first. No, he refuses it. He outright refuses it and nullifies my threat. So, what can I do? I push my pawn so I don't take the bishop immediately and fall for his crazy knight and queen tricks. Uh, hopefully, hopefully this gives me enough chances. I mean, if I take my bishop on the next move, well, if his knight doesn't move, then I take his knight. If his knight moves, then I take his bishop. And since his knight is no longer positioned strategically on e4, I should be able to. Yeah, I should be able to take the bishop, get the check from the queen, move my king to h1, and no threats whatsoever. So let's see how it goes, folks. Again, good tactic. Mm, Good tactic overall, but let's see. Huh. I think I take with my pawn. My pawn structure is completely ruined now, but that's better than uh, losing my rook for his knight, I suppose. Trying to maintain some position here. Not, not, not sure if I can hold on to this, but it's worth a shot. I'll just try to make it as difficult for him as I can. Hmm. His queen's here. I'm not sure what he's trying to achieve with that, but That just gives me a good opportunity to take out my knight. But then again, he has the luxury to place his queen pretty much in quite strategic locations, I think. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. He's threatening to take my pawn. I'm not sure what exactly to do to counter this, but mm, yeah, my knight could come here and he wouldn't have a lot of squares to go to, I guess. So let's just try this and see what happens. This game is getting a bit complicated and I'm not sure what the best move is, but this looks okay. I take bishop, I push my pawn, and is his queen trapped now somehow? I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back with a good move. I'm pretty sure if there's anyone in the world who can come up with a solution to this position, who's not a GM or an IM, it's probably gonna be Govind. But as I expected, there is no counter to this amazing move that I managed to find. So far, so good. I'm just gonna keep adding pressure, and as you can see, I have a +9 score here. So this should be a comfortable win for me. And let's see if it is. Let's see if it is. I have no idea what to do to this position. Just push my pawn, get his bishop away. Not the most ideal of positions for his bishop to be if it were me, but let's see. Just trying to get my pieces into action. His bishop can take my pawn, his rook can too. I can take his rook, I think. Take his rook, give a check. I think taking his rook makes more sense. Uh, get my queen into the game. Let's get into the game. My queen. Oh shit, I completely missed this, but hopefully it's not a disaster. What's the best move in my case? Just move here, threaten the, no, no. Just threaten the rook for now, I guess. I'm still a bit nervous, although this gotta be an easy win for me, but playing with Govind, for what I know about how good this guy is, I am genuinely nervous about this position. He can take my pawn here, although I don't think it opens up a lot of uh, opportunities for him to attack me. And uh, as expected, he does not take it. He needs his knight over there, so I cannot exploit the pin somehow. I can bring my rook here, and I'm sure that's exactly why he brought his rook to e6 to prevent any hanky-panky at f6 either with my rook or with my bishop, which is very smart of him, but then again, uh, I'm not sure if he blundered or if he's uh, trying to just tease me a bit with these moves, but we'll know when we know. I think the best continuation for me is to just move it here. I'm threatening his knight and also hopefully opening up some avenues for a checkmate. I can also push my pawn and he sacks his piece again because he does not have a lot of things to do. I just sack my rook now. I am a queen up, so it shouldn't really matter if... okay, I sack my queen as well. And this is a one game for me. I should be able to just promote one of my A or B pawns, which he does not allow me to do. So, what else can I do, stream? Uh, I just move my queen here, limit his options for mobility, just push my pawn, see what he wants to do, try to avoid making any stupid move that would threaten me. And this is a mate, the next move to be precise. And yes, folks, I've won my first round against Govind, and I cannot say how happy I am. Uh, let's move to round two. I am nervous now because I'm pretty sure he's gonna be coming back for revenge. And again, like I said, our games are quite chaotic. Uh, I hit his queen move, but then again, whew, I know Govind enough to know that I should not take his non, what they call it, mm, like non-obvious moves as blunders in particular. I'm not sure what to do next. His queen's really annoying, to be honest. Just gonna play a pawn up, avoid trading materials unless I have to. He's piling up pressure here. I think I can give him a check and he'll just bring his knight back to d2 and I cannot do much after that, so let's just try pushing pawns. I could give a check again, but again, like I said, I'm not happy with the position that I'm gonna end up with that. As expected, well, more or less. He pushed his pawn to give himself an extra square. I'm just gonna push it here. He's probably gonna castle now. Uh, he's building pressure. I have to take the pawn now, I think. What else can I do? Any square, I move my pawn, queen, whether d7 or e7. I'm kind of blocking one of my bishops from development, so I'm not sure if I want to do it. But if I trade the queens, he's probably gonna take with his uh, knight, and I don't like that either. And right now I'm getting smothered here, really smothered. So what can I do? What can I do? I don't see any good move here. Do I move my queen? Sorry, do I move my king to d2? I don't see it being particularly helpful, but maybe I could just trade pieces and that would be fine. Not sure. Hmm. I hit this position, but I'm trading now. I think I end up being worse off, but the only way to confirm is to play the move, I guess. I'm pretty sure he's gonna push the pawn, build pressure here. If I take, my king's pretty much exposed in the center, like I said. I'm just walking into his trap, and I don't know what to do. I don't know any better. The only thing I think I can try is bishop here. I give up the pawn. I push my pawn, try to trap his bishop somehow, but then again it does not. Ah, shit, I cannot do that because his knight, his annoying knight, won't allow me to. So the only thing left for me to do is to bring my bishop here, deny him castle on the queen side, but then again the king side castle is just as good. I castle here, but I don't think it's. I think he's gonna gate crash my position somehow. Uh, I'm not sure what to do here. Just try to bring my rook to a position where he cannot actively attack it. But then again, that does not necessarily mean that my positions anyhow improved. And I completely missed this, so I'm screwed, guys. But anyway, at least I have my one win, my one win against Govind. Gonna give him a check here, see what he's gonna do in response. Probably gonna move the d file. Ah, not sure why he played that, but I'll take any free pawn I get. Just push the pawn here. He'll get this pawn back eventually, I guess. But there is some option, some possibility for me to trap his bishop, but he is gonna want to trade. So, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? This looks like a lost game to me. The only fix I see, at least temporarily, is to bring my rook to e8, but it's not at all fixed. It's not at all fixed. He's either gonna play d8, rook d8, which is completely fine. He has a lot of options actually. He can come rook f1 or rook e1, supporting the. Ah, okay. That's not so bad for me. I just take whatever I can while I can and hope that it's enough. He could bring his rook to d8, but I just move my king here and uh, it's complicated. But at least now I have some support. I'll try to build a skeleton of my pawns so they can sort of support each other. Again, not happy with how it's going, but what else can I do? Ah, he wants my bishop now. I could bring it to c8, but if his rook tries to tread, I will have very limited options to refute it. I think there are enough options. Let's explore. My king just goes to f7 if his rook falls to d8, and hopefully that's enough. Hopefully that's enough. Mm. Um, yes, this should be enough, I think. Maybe I could have just taken his rook. Then, if he takes my rook with a check, yeah, maybe perhaps that was simpler, more elegant. But hopefully this is fine as well. His rook can go somewhere safe now, and I can make sure that his rook never comes back to d8 again. To d6 again, sorry. Just try to get my bishop to b7 and then to e4 with a check or something. And the e file is blocked forever, hopefully, and he cannot protect his pawn so much. Let's see. Easier said than done, I guess. But whew, this is a tricky game. I have two bishops as compensation for his rook and a pawn. And usually double bishops, especially in open games, are more powerful. But then again, his e7 pawn is a bit tricky. Uh, like advanced pawns can win or lose you games, folks. If you can hang on to the pawn, if you can build pressure, if you can constantly have the pawn be a threat to promotion, then it can be a big weapon in your arsenal. But hopefully, this is the other case now where the pawn looks like it's falling, and there isn't much he can do to protect it. And uh, hopefully, the pawn will be the source of his demise. The score right now, folks, is Amin 1, Amin 1, Govind 0, which I love very much. His next move is gonna be to target my pawn here, which I don't mind. I mean, I will be getting his e-pawn as compensation, so that's fine for me, and I'm also kind of threatening his pawns in G and H5. I will have to find a way to protect my B pawn though, and to make sure that his A pawn cannot promote if he plays the way I think he will. That is uh, attacking my A5 pawn with Rook C5. Uh, I I probably cannot stop him from taking the pawn, but I also have a threat of bishop to C7, threatening both of his rooks, which can be quite powerful, I guess. Let's see what he plays next. I can also take his pawn, give him a check. His king has to move to c2 more or less, give him a check with the bishop, and he might have to sack his bishop for free actually. Like so, rook checks after a couple of moves when the pawn is no longer here. I take the pawn hopefully in the next move. His king comes to c2. Bishop checks from e4. The king cannot move, so rook comes to d3. If I take with the bishop, the king can take the bishop, but if I give the check again with my rook, the king has to fall back to uh, line 1, and my bishop can pretty much take the rook for free, more or less, depending on how the next sequence of moves go, of course. Let's see how it goes. Like I said, he wants to take the pawn, which I will happily allow. And if he takes the pawn, I have this trait, and I also have this other trait with my bishop to pretty much destroy his position. I have a lot of traits here. I think I'm winning this game as well. Do I give a check now? If I give a check now, tricky for me. I can either give a check with a bishop, in which case he does not have a lot of moves. Yeah, let's give a check with a bishop. I think I found a winning combination. He either has to... Ah, shit. I did not take that into account, but anyway. Anyway, this should be enough to hold my position, I think. Bit complicated, but that's not a huge problem, hopefully. I just have to constantly make sure that I can protect my a-pawn somehow, and slowly develop my uh, moves on the king's side, trying to take his king's pawn. Hmm. I take his pawn, he takes my pawn, I take his other pawn, he probably takes my pawn again. So, yeah, we pretty much have a race to the bottom, I guess. Take his pawn, takes here, take here. I think I should be fine. Let's see. This should be winning for me. He can take the pawn if he wants. I don't mind trading. I don't mind trading here. Just try to protect my pawn here. And now, okay. Now I just try to push this pawn as much as I can. It more or less has support till the seventh file. So uh, at least one of his pieces has to be constantly on the lookout. I think I just move my rook. So if we decide to trade rooks, then he cannot take my bishop for free. And now I'm threatening his pawn, so his pawn is falling for sure, which would be a big disaster for his position in my opinion. He does have counterplay on the queen side as soon as he takes my pawn, but I'm pretty sure I have the advantage when it comes to the pawn race. Takes it. Do I take it? Do I simplify? Maybe I just take here and simplify. I can sack one of my bishops for his a pawn. Ah, so he's gonna play some tricky move that's gonna put me in some situation. He has to take with the pawn now, else I take his pawn. So yeah, that's exactly the kind of situation I want him to be in for now. I should have just taken the pawn simply and hmm, this removes some problems in the long run. Let's just see what he wants to do next. This should be more than enough. There should be more than enough firepower with my two bishops to prevent any unwanted BS. He cannot stop my pawn. He cannot stop my g pawn from going to g3. And once it's there, I have support for the pawn to go to uh, g2 and then promote in g1. Ta-da! Not quite sure how he's gonna stop it. I consider it impossible, but he's giving it a shot. So let's see. Let's see. I don't see any possibility how he could stop it without sacking his rook somehow, or just letting me promote, I guess, while he takes my. Huh. He takes my bishop. I promote, and is there any trade of stalemate if he takes my bishop or something? I don't think so. His pawn can move, so that's good. That's good. I will allow him to go for a stalemate. Push. Okay, I push, he pushes. I push, he promotes with a check. That's not fair. No, I push, he pushes. I push, he pushes. I give a check. Yeah, that's fair. I push, he pushes. Yeah. I gotta get the steps right. I push. He has to push. It's forced. Welcome to Papa. And as expected, just maybe one or two more moves before the story ends. That's good night. Well done. Pretty surprised that I won again. But I am ecstatic, folks. It's been a long time since I've won 2 rounds in a row against Govind. For round 3, I'm not sure what to play, but I won with the birds opening in the first round, so I'm just gonna try to maintain that. Then again, it's not that he doesn't know theory that he's playing super strange moves, it's just that he does not need them. He's that good, especially when it comes to bullets and blitz, but I'm pretty sure he's just as good with higher time controls and stupid looking moves as well. Mm. Let's see what happens now. I dare him to double push his B pawn, which he does. I know him well enough to know that he's gonna play stupid moves, but I guess that wins him his pawn back, which is fine. Which is fine. He can win the pawn. I can win this pawn as well. Not quite sure how it's going, but let's just keep up the crazy here. And I can either give a check or I can try to trade rooks. I can try to trade queens. He will force it on me, I guess. I don't wanna give a check right now. Let's just try to get some pieces flowing. Hopefully take the pawn or threaten his queen here. Just trying to build some momentum. Mhm. Not a bad move, I guess. Just play my king here. I'm blocking my bishop now, but maybe not such a bad thing, I hope. I don't want to threaten. Wait, where am I? If I threaten his rook, he just takes a good square, and I have limited squares. So instead of me walking into a forcing move, let me just strategically place my queen on h4, which is still, well, threatening his knight in a circumstance that, shit, did I blunder? Did I blunder somehow? Did I have an option to give him a check? To give him a check, forking his rook and the knight. I'm not sure when he moved his knight here, but maybe there was some option. Let's see if I can produce similar opportunity now, threatening his knight. His knight can't take my knight, and otherwise I just uh, get a check with a fork on the rook and the knight with queen takes e4, and it's also threatening his queen. So if he doesn't take my knight, then my knight can just give a check, uh, taking his knight with a check on the king. So that's pretty solid move on my part. He really wants to push this pawn, I guess, but I think he's at least losing a knight in this situation, which is really good for me. Then again, folks, I remind the stream that I'm currently playing against Mr. Govind, who is the highest, who is the strongest player I know who does not have a FIDE rating. Uh, let's see what he wants to do here. I give a check. His king has to move. I fall back. Not sure what he's gonna do next, but if he pushes the pawn, I just give a check and trade queens. I try to trade queens now, any way possible. I am 6 points up, so The lesser the pieces in the game, the better it is for me. I push the pawn. I dare him to trade, and if he trades, I don't think it works exactly the way I want it to, but it should be okay, I think. I might lose a pawn in a very delicate situation. Hmm. Let's try giving a check for now. Okay, just give an extra hand. Pushes queen away a bit, hopefully. I need to start developing my pieces again, which he kind of, yeah, an annoying move, but not much in it. Threatened his rook, so I should get his knight, I think, but he's probably gonna, yeah, that's what I was afraid he was gonna do. I take his knight, he takes the pawn with a check. I think I'm still good enough to win this game, but I cannot be so sure. Do I want to open the game to more chaos than that's really already there? I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I don't think that's wise. Hmm. I'm not sure what the best move is here. I mean, his knight's gonna just fall back, which I don't really mind. And yeah, just hold on to the position somehow, trying to make some opportunities. I don't know what he's trying to do with this move here. Takes, takes. Let's take the knight now. I think it's fine. He has some chances with some, yeah, files opening up for the bishop here. Ha! It's gonna be tricky for me. It's gonna be a tricky game that I have an advantage in, but uh, converting it is always a challenge when it comes to playing against Govind. I have plus 8 points now, but my rooks are really inactive. The best way for me to win this game is to make sure that we end up trading our queens. That way the game just simplifies and I can play the game at my own pace without much complications. So I'm gonna try to do exactly that. Bring my bishop into the game, threaten the pawn, hopefully threaten the mate. Uh, he can still give me a check, I think, which I will happily allow as long as it means that we trade our queens. I want your queen, I want your queen, I want your queen, I want your queen. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Okay, so he avoids trading queens like he should, and I'm not sure what my next move's gonna be. Maybe I'll just push the pawn here, try to open up some avenues for attack. Whew. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Do I push it just once? Hmm. Maybe I just push it once for added security, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring his rook to f square, or he can also bring his bishop to b7 to exploit the position somehow. Do I take with the bishop? I am severely overexposing my position right now. Uh, I have a lot of material advantage, so I am being a bit lenient with my choice of moves. But let's straighten a mate now. Mm, he does not have a lot of good moves, I think. He's, yeah, bishop. Rook has to, queen has to go back again. I want to give it attack from here, but wasn't possible because of the pawn in b4. Uh, so I threaten to take his queen now. I'm giving him my rook, and yeah, there should be a strong enough attack for me to win. And like I thought, I have won. Pretty surprised. I won 3 out of 3 again. I just played against a really strong player. Do not go against his rating. Do not go against uh, like his opening choices. He is really strong, and I am more than enthralled that I managed to beat him 3 games in a row. So I'm gonna stop streaming now. Thank you folks for joining. Hope you had a good time.